Hello and welcome to Back Paddock. Today we're going to use Web App to create a new client file including farms, paddocks and maps. So to get started, you'll want to go to webapp.backpaddock.com.au and sign in with your email address and your password. When you're there, in the top left corner, we're going to start by creating a new client file. So click on New. Now we're going to enter the name. So I'm going to call this one Sonic and save. Give it a little second. We're going to enter our farm name. So let's see what we're going to call this one. We're going to call this one Thread and save. Okay, so all it needs for us to get started is to create the client file name and a single farm. We can see here my client file name is already up there in the top left. My Thread farm is there. I'm going to add a second farm and I'm going to call this one Rainbow and save. So I now have my client file with two farms. I want to draw paddock maps for these ones. And during that process, I'm then going to create my actual paddocks. So you can either use the search icon at the top here to find a location. So I might go with Gympie and just search. Or you can just scroll and find it if it's nearby one of your existing files. Let's go to a likely looking area out here. Out here looks fine to me. Okay, now once you're there, I'm going to select on my first farm. So I'm going to start by drawing some paddocks in my rainbow farm. So I'm going to click on the drawing tool on the left-hand side and I'm going to click on draw boundary. Before I do that though, I'm just going to zoom in on my first paddock. There we go. So I'm going to click on draw boundary now and my cursor is going to become a blue dot and I'm going to single click in all of the corners of my first field and join at the beginning. This is going to come up with a new box off to the right hand side here. In my save to paddock option, I'm going to say add new paddock. And I'm going to call this paddock big and save. You can see that saving in the bottom right corner and it's auto calculated my area. So I'm going to do the same thing and repeat for some additional paddocks in this block. Let's go this way. Here, join at the beginning, save to paddock, add new paddock, and I'll call this one shape. Now, if I do want to draw a paddock for another farm, so I do have my two farms up here. Let's say above here is Thread. So I'll draw a boundary and I'll choose this paddock in the center here. Connect those dots and I'm going to select my farm and choose Thread instead. Save to paddock, add new paddock, and I'm going to call this one Rough and save. Okay, so I'll stop there, but as you can see, it's just a matter of adding new paddocks as you go, withdrawing the draw boundary tool, selecting the correct farm and adding the name, and it will auto-calculate your area. If you do at any point need to edit, so let's say my shape paddock down here, let's say I'm not happy with how that's designed. I'm going to click on my shape paddock and I'm going to edit it during this edit boundary tool here, and I might bring it back to what looks like a little path there instead of where I originally had it. I'll move this edge up the top here a little bit, move that line further over here. Okay, I'll edit that and then I'll save my changes. And then what I can also do is leave that highlighted and click this hectare tool, which will recalculate my area based on my current mapping instead of my previous mapping. So this file would now be available on Back Paddock Mobile for me to retrieve, but there's one final step that I want to do if I want to push this across to Advisor with the mapping. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the plus sign in the bottom right corner. I'm going to go to Import, Export, BPAM, and then Export Maps to BPAM. which just ensures that these maps, as well as the client file, name, farm, and paddocks, are available in the advisor program. So let me pause this briefly and pull this up on my other devices. Okay, I've just grabbed my Back Paddock mobile here, and so I'm going to touch on farm management down the bottom here. And here I can see my new client file Sonic. I'm going to touch on that to ticket and touch done at the top. It's going to pull down my new file. So you can see it's got my two farms. If I touch through, I can see that I've got big and shape in my rainbow farm, and under thread, I've got rough. Now if I touch the map tab in the top right, I can see my 3 paddocks that I've mapped. So that has all come across into my Back Paddock mobile. If I want to get out of that after I've done some work, I suggest the 3 lines, the top left burger menu, sync open file now. And then back to home down here. That's the best way to get out of your client file to ensure everything is up to date. Now what I want to do is pull up the advisor program. So I can see it just here. Now you'll notice I don't have a Sonic client file listed here yet. That's because I need to refresh file list. And I can see my Sonic client file is now here. So because this is a new file, there's no local copy. So I need to single click it and click sync selected files with corner post to retrieve that one. And that's going to allow me to pull it down. And it's gone through the sync complete stage. So now I'm going to double click to go into my Sonic file. I can see my 3 paddocks here divided into 2 farms. And if I went to my mapping tab along the top here, if you don't have this, it means it's been disabled in your settings. I'm going to open up my show boundaries and I can see my 3 paddocks here. So I now have the same information in all 3 of my devices or locations for my Advisor Manager suite. Thanks for joining me.